What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Not So Special Podcast, or as some lovingly refer it to as the Creepleet Podcast. They are one and the same, so what can I say? Um, yeah, I blatantly lied to you guys about putting this episode out a couple weeks ago. Mostly, well, we'll get into in a bit, but I put the notification up on Twitter. Hey, I'm going to be recording the next episode. Like, send me some questions. And I got one question from Kevin from Buried on Mars, also known on Twitter as Old Man Praises VR. We'll get to that in a second. And I can't find it, but I think I remember his question. So again, we'll get into that. Um, yeah, it was kind of a crappy couple of weeks. A lot with the weather going on and having a young child. The stir crazy sets in. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. We don't want to be in the house anymore. Not that we don't love our house and stuff, but we just want to do something different. So there was that. And then there was the sickness. And we're not sure where we got it, but all three of us got hit really, really hard. My wife got hit on Friday. She took the day off work. I took the kiddo to school, or not to school, to daycare, uh, and not in school yet. And then I went to work, and then eventually daycare called and said, kid's not doing so good. You should probably take him back. So I left work early, went and grabbed him, went home. None of us were feeling that great. It hit me later on in the evening. So as we're putting the kid to bed, sure enough, he gets sick all over his room, and that's a lot of fun. This is a great way to start a podcast, by the way. There's no better way to start it than talk about, kids throwing up. So, meanwhile, I'm not feeling great, and so I'm trying to clean up my kid's mess while I'm not feeling great, and then I ended up sleeping in the spare room because my wife didn't want my son to be by himself if he's going to be not feeling well all night, so he ended up sleeping in our bed, and I wasn't feeling great, and I knew I was going to have a rough night, and I didn't want to keep them awake, so I moved into the spare room. Now, I don't know if this is just our room, or that room, but it was so cold in there. Like, I was wearing socks, like pajama bottoms, a long sleeve shirt, a sweater, a hoodie with the hood up, underneath a blanket and a comforter, and I was freezing. So I think a lot of it had to do with me being sick, but um, yeah, it was not good. I was up for most of the night, um, and I started getting to that headspace where you're almost in a delirium. Like you don't know if you're awake or if you're sleeping, and I started having like crazy visions and like apparitions in front of me. It was really, really weird. Um, Not something I want to experience again for a very long time. So, thankfully, it went away after I think I slept most of Saturday because I started feeling better, and then by Sunday I was pretty much there. All of us are back up to, well, not quite 100%. At least my wife and I are not back up to 100%. I would say it might be like 80 or 90, but there's still like, every once in a while you get a strange look at some food and you're like, I'm not feeling that right now. Don't get that away from me as soon as possible. So that's been fun. But other than that, we're doing okay. But needless to say, this episode got majorly delayed. Yeah, it's just life, life gets in the way. Kudos to you guys who do shows on the regular, because I cannot do it. I think, well, maybe because I think a lot of you, I mean, aside from like, say, Josh, Frantic Thoughts, or James from Retro Pixel podcast, a lot of you guys have partners, so you're doing this with someone else, one or two people that you get together regularly, so it's a little bit, I don't know if it's easier, but you have more motivation to sit down and do a record. Whereas if it's just me and I'm like, I should probably record something, and then I start doing something on my computer, or I start watching TV or a movie or playing a video game, and then all of a sudden the day's over. So I mean, I meant to do it on the day that I said I was going to do it, I actually had the day off, and when I got home, I was just like, oh, there's a movie I wanted to watch, so I ended up watching that, and then, oh, I got to list this thing on eBay real quick, and then, oh, I'm gonna do this and do that, and all of a sudden, oh, it's 5 o'clock, it's time to go pick up the kid. So yeah, time just slips away from you, especially when you're by yourself. Like I don't have that much time to myself anymore. I get more than I used to. In the evenings, I'm able to come down here and kind of just hang out. But by the time I get down here, it's 9 o'clock or so, so I only have an hour. Um, and by the time you get everything set up or what you want to do, then like there's not enough time left. I need to get up early to go to work. So, I mean, yeah. Anyways, this has been 5 minutes of me making excuses. So, what have I been up to? I'm gonna start with a couple weeks. I shouldn't say weeks. Probably a month or two ago, I actually went to Detroit, Michigan. My brother-in-law had tickets to go see Cirque du Soleil, and he couldn't make it, so he ended up passing the tickets off to me and my wife. So we found, or we pawned off the kiddo to I think it was my mom, and yeah, we went off to Detroit. It is a very boring drive to Detroit. There's not a whole lot going on. We were not fans of crossing the border. I've crossed the border many times. I've crossed many a border too, not just this one. Several borders, even overseas. Border crossings are never fun. Thankfully, this one wasn't too bad. I always heard the myth of going over the border in Detroit. Like they screen you a lot stricter. They see young people, they're gonna pull them over and search them, and empty the car out and everything like that. When my family we moved to the States for a couple of years, and every time we crossed the border because our car's full of stuff and we had a moving truck, it was always a point of fear. Are they going to make us pull everything out of the truck and everything out of the car? And once or twice, yeah, they had to look through everything we bought pulled in the inspection. And nowadays, I mean, we hear stories of they can just turn you away for whatever reason. They can ask for your phone now, and you have to give it to them, and you have to unlock it for them, and they're allowed to take your phone away from you and go look through your phone. And if you say no, then I think you can get fined or you can get denied, and it's crazy the kind of power that the border agents have, or can have over you. So, and with the new administration, sometimes you're not sure uh, where you feel you're going to be profiled. I guess is the best way to put it. So we weren't looking forward to that. Thankfully, it was super easy. It was, what are you here for? How long are you here? All right, have fun. So no issues. I was a little concerned about getting there. I'm like, oh, it's Detroit. It's going to be busy. And it was at the Little Caesars Arena, which I guess is kind of part of, I don't know if it's old downtown, but it was not busy. I don't know if it's part of the new downtown either. I don't know where it was, or what part of the town it's considered to be. It's very close to the Detroit Tigers ballpark, so that was cool. So I booked my parking online. I paid for it. I was concerned about getting close parking and everything. And I get there and it is dead. There is nothing happening, which is almost more eerie than it being a busy city. So we got there around I want to say one or two. I think the show started at 3. So we ended up getting out and kind of walking around. We walked over to the ballpark to have a look. I got my picture taken in front of the Detroit Tigers big statue in front of the main gate, and it's an open air arena, so you're able to and with just gates in front, they don't board it up like Rogers Center, so you're able to look through and see the ballpark, and you can see the seats and everything in the stadium. That was pretty cool. Maybe one day I'll go to a Jays game down there, just to support the old team, even though I don't even recognize the team anymore. But I won't bore anyone with some sports talk. So we got into the arena at a good time. We had pretty good seats. The tickets that my brother-in-law had were given to him by, I I don't know if it was a customer or an account or something like that that basically sent him the tickets. Um, so again, pretty decent, and it was a really good show. I've never been to Cirque du Soleil before. I've seen lots of clips online and some of the craziest stuff happening, but never in person. And you see miniature versions of this kind of stuff if you go to like a busker festival. We have one here in town that happens, I think, once a year. Um, so you see little miniature versions of these acrobatic skills. But this is like the culmination of all the stuff and all the latest and greatest things. And some of the stunts they do are pretty crazy. It was kind of there was a story to it. I don't know if I could tell you what it was. It's very artistic, very interpretive. It was kind of like a death dream sequence type thing. Um, but again, we went mostly for the acrobatics of it. Um, it was really good. I look up any kind of Cirque du Soleil clip on YouTube. You'll see what it is. The one takeaway, and this is so silly. I mean, the amount of choreography that happens at one of these shows is immense. And one of the things that I really get enjoyment out of is looking at where the performers don't want you to look. So there's a lot of, if you think of a magician, there's a lot of misdirection. You know, they're waving their hand over here and this hand's doing something. And not to toot my own horn, but I've had some magic experience in the past, and I learned a lot about this kind of stuff. And so when I see a lot of performing stuff over here and it's very visually intriguing, I'm looking over on the other side of the stage. What's happening over here? And there's a lot of detail happening. And I don't know if this is intentional, but the actors and the performers, there was a lot of little things happening, a lot of interaction between two people off to the side, barely in the light at all, happening. That was really funny, or it was very entertaining at the very least. So even though I wanted to see, someone doing flips and stuff over here and flying around on a guide wire and flipping around on a hoop, like all that stuff's really cool. But I found the integral stuff pretty cool. When they're swinging stuff around, I like seeing the guy put his foot down and put the lock on the wheel, so that it doesn't move anymore. I find that interesting. How do they incorporate that kind of move into their choreography? It's just stuff like that I find very interesting. Or the placement of certain people on certain sections of the stage where there's possibly an opening for something to come out of, or for something to drop through. Really, 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 I don't know. That's the stuff I find interesting. And despite all of this happening, the coolest part I found was a little person strapped to a giant helium balloon. And that sounds as ridiculous as it was. There were two, I don't know what the correct political term for these days, but I will say little people, who were incorporated into the show, who were part of the show. And they were very good. And at one point, they had the main character who was not an acrobat. I think he was more of a comedian than anything. And then he had this little person with him, a woman, and she was strapped to a giant helium balloon around her waist, and she would take a jump and she would float through the air with this balloon, and then she'd come down. And then at one point, the main actor takes her in his hands, like on his fingertips. I guess that's how light she was. And then she proceeds to jump off of him into the crowd. So we're in this arena, and so all of a sudden there's this little person strapped to a balloon floating around the arena and landing on people and jumping off of them. It was very, very cool and very entertaining. And then meanwhile, she is looking down and she's making fun of people. Oh, you're not so big from up here, or you're not so strong. I could take you any day, and it was just things like that. And it was very lighthearted. It was very funny, and it's not something that if you watch on a video clip on YouTube, that would really convey the sense of, like, I want to say just joy. It was really fun just to watch that. And that was the takeaway for the whole show. I mean, there was guys flipping around on parallel bars, like within an inch of each other. Um, there was two people going on ropes, like just holding onto a rope, flying around. And at one point, she's doing the splits, only being held by her feet on either side of her, swinging around in circles around the stage, and it was like wow. And then she lets her foot slip, and then she falls, and her other foot catches, and she lands like an inch away from the stage, and the whole arena just goes, and you could just that was really cool. But when I talk about Cirque du Soleil, I talk about a little person strapped to a balloon, and that was the best part of the show. Go figure. Um, yeah, it was really funny. And so yeah, it was when we got out of there. We obviously it was dark, and the city seemed to come alive at that point with everyone leaving the show. So we got to our car, we drove around, and I actually met up with a friend down there, and he took us to I think it's called Mexican Town, kind of a suburb of Detroit, and we went to a local Mexican restaurant. Mexican's like it's like my go-to. Anything Mexican, I'm there. I'll eat anything. Um, yeah, it was delicious. Some of the best Mexican food I've had in a very, very, very long time. So thank you to my friend. If you're listening, I don't think he ever will. So yeah, that was my Detroit story. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Cirque du Soleil or anything like that. Like, please let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' experience. What was your takeaway moment that when you think back on that experience? What's the one thing that you were like, yeah, okay, this was the coolest part? And if you can find a video clip of it on YouTube, um, and send it to me, I would love to see it. So what have I else been doing? That sounds really awkward. What else have I been doing? Oh, I can't do this. So what else have I been up to? I have been playing some VR games. I'm going to talk a little bit here. Um, this will incorporate the question from Kevin. So as many of you know, I'm sure it's been touted on several much bigger and better podcasts than mine. I've been playing some Star Trek Bridge Crew, mostly with Kevin, Buried on Mars, and Bill from STC Pod, and even Derek from Deej13, Two Dorks, and Dollar Dorks podcast. We all got on and we were playing Star Trek, and it is a ton of fun. Now, we haven't played in the past week or two, so I'm a little bit sad about that. I bought the DLC for it right in front of Bill, and we have yet to use it. So hopefully we'll get on there and get to experience that. But it's been really fun. We get in, and you have your arms, and you're kind of waving them around, much to the either chagrin or annoyance of Kevin. Um, as much as he gives us so much crap, you gotta do, and he starts saying, "Oh, you gotta do your finger wagging, your finger banging, you're waggling all around," and we're looking at him and pointing, and you and you and you, and meanwhile we look over at Kevin. He's sitting there, face down, arms on his keyboards, looking very direct, and he just, he looked down on us or our PS4 plebs. PSVR, at least PC's better. And anyways, it was a whole ruse thing going on. It was a lot of fun. But then next thing you know, I turn around and he's buying a VR unit for his PC. So, what can I say? Maybe some finger banging worked for him. Maybe he likes the finger banging and he wants to finger bang some more. He wants to finger bang with us. Maybe that's what he wants. Kevin, it's okay. You can come finger bang with me and Bill. And finger waggle. You can do the finger curls. Come and enjoy the silliness that is Star Trek Bridge Crew. And I think we beat the main campaign. It got very intense at the end. When I think Derek was playing with us for a little bit, he had to leave. We got killed a couple of times. It's very difficult. So for each station, each person is playing a specific station, such as the helm. So you're driving the ship, then tactical. So you're doing the scanning, you're firing the phasers and the missiles, torpedoes, and Then there's engineering, and they're routing power and maintenance and repairs. And then there's the captain at the front, and he gets to look at all the objectives, and tells people where to go and what to do, that kind of thing. And so with the four of us, it was the first time we had a full crew. I was on engineering. I was trying to learn that system. I don't think it's as complicated as it looks when you first get in there. It's kind of information overload. Um, but once you start to understand the systems very quickly, within 10 minutes of doing it, I think you'd probably catch on. Um, Anyways, that was our thing, and Derek was on the helm and did a couple. We tried the mission, I think, 2 or 3 times, then we just couldn't do it. So then Derek left. Bill was the captain, and then so I jumped from engineering over to the helm. I don't know if it's because I'm a driver in real life, but for some reason that's where I got put. Um, so I was driving around. That was my job. We got to the point where actually we all knew the objectives and we all knew where to go, because we did this mission I think a couple more times after Derek left. Um, we knew what the objectives were and we knew where to go, so we didn't even need a captain anymore. So Bill just jumped over to engineering, and then we just flew through that mission. Once we had an engineer full time, and we were telling, I need power here, I need power to engines so I can move. Kevin, I need power to missiles or to phaser banks so I can get more power out of these phasers. And Bill was just back there, fingers flying, and I'm over here, and then Kevin's over here doing kind of looking like this. That'll change, Kevin, don't worry. And yeah, it was just really fun. So we managed to beat that. And since then I haven't really played a whole lot of VR. I've been trying to get back into some Beat Saber. I've been off of that for a couple of weeks, and I hear the new track pack's coming up for that, I think next week, I want to say. Who knows when this podcast is going out, so it could be last week for all you know. So that's been really cool. So hopefully I can get some more people into some VR and get into some more sessions with more people, even with Playroom. That's the cool thing about Playroom. You don't need VR to play it. You don't even need a PlayStation or anything to play it. It's available on Steam for free. So you play it on Steam, you play it on PlayStation, anywhere, and just jump in for free and come play with us. It's a great place to hang out. Derek and I were working on setting up a CC room, a Cartridge Club hangout room. I don't know if that room got saved or not, but we haven't been back to it since. There's just a lot to do in there, and then you can do paintball, virtual paintball, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a bunch of different mini games to do out there, and it's all completely free. So check whatever device you're playing on. Check if there's Playroom. If you have VR, I think that's the more enjoyable way to play it. But if you don't have VR, then you definitely just play on your PC or whatever, or you can just play with a controller too. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the other thing I've been playing has been Trials Rising. I actually started streaming this game a week or two ago. I love the Trials series. I've been a fan of Trials since back in the Flash game era on Internet Explorer. I used to really get into it, and when they started adding new vehicles and stuff like that. And next thing you know, they're adding it to Xbox Live Arcade. They added Trials HD. And I don't know if I didn't buy it right away, but I had the trial for a long time. The trial of trials, huh? And I don't know why I didn't buy it right away, but I played the trial several times, and it finally just, what am I doing wrong here? Why don't I just buy this? So I did, and that was a game that we played with friends for forever. It's very minimalist in its scale at that point. It's kind of all contained within a warehouse, so that's where you build, and that's where you play, and that's where the setting is. And the tracks got very intense. There was no multiplayer at that point, but we had a lot of couch co-op where it would be, I would play a round or two, and then, or I would play till I beat the level or got stuck, and then hand the controller off and go around the circle, around the room. Everyone plays. We're all adding tips. Well, what if you accelerate here, and then what if you brake here and go down this way, or you try to find the most efficient route to the end of the level. I guess I should explain. Trials is a motorbike game in a 2.5D environment where you go left to right and there's gas and brake. Preferably if you have analog triggers, that's the way to do it on your controller. And you lean left and right to distribute your weight to get over obstacles, to get from the start of the level to the end of the level. And levels can be as short as 30 seconds to just drive through, and other ones are very complicated and can take up to 10 minutes if you don't know what you're doing. Actually, some of them you can even time out. I think there's a 30-minute time cap, and there were a couple of missions at the end there where we timed out several times trying to figure them out. I did end up beating that game. I think I did 100% it until they added more content, which I did not purchase at the time. So, needless to say, I really like Trials HD, which is a fantastic game, and it is still available on Xbox, I believe. And if you're at all curious, that is where to start. That is an excellent game, and it was on sale a couple of days ago for like $5, and I was trying to push people to buy it. There's also a physical edition on Xbox 360 that has Trials HD, Limbo, and Splosion Man. So 3 indie titles on one disc for the Xbox 360. So if you're a physical collector, that is an excellent way to go as well. I have the digital version and I have the physical version. Back in my crazy days of I need to have a physical version of everything. So after that came Trials Evolution, and I think that is the peak of the series. It introduced multiplayer. It introduced an open world setting where you can go anywhere. It also introduced turning, so you can actually go left and right, not on purpose, but if the track can curve, and then so the bike would follow the route, and you can predetermine that. If you edit your own tracks, or you make your own tracks, you can determine if you want to make that left turn or right turn. So that was definitely the best one of the series, and that version unfortunately is delisted. Is unfortunate is the downfall of the modern day digital only future that we're going towards. I hear a lot of people talking about how everyone's sad they can't get Scott Pilgrim anymore. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the beat 'em up based on River City Ransom. I'm in that camp where I wish I had it. I have the demo of it downloaded to my 360. If there was a way that I could get an unlock file, because obviously you download the whole game when you download the demo, and when you purchase it just purchases an unlock key. That's it. So I could find a way to get that unlock key, I would have that game, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But anyways, that game is delisted. Unless you have it, you can't play it. And that's kind of like the crying point of, we can't have it. We can't have this anymore. And for me, that's one of the games. But one of the games I'm glad that I am able to have, that unfortunately no one else can at this point, is Trials Evolution. I don't think it's available anywhere else. So that game is just gone, which is unfortunate because it's the best one. So then after that came Trials Fusion on the PS4. They went for like a futuristic vibe. They added a trick system, and it just kind of fell flat. Like it was okay. It's a Trials game. If you want to play Trials, it's Trials, but there's nothing special there really. Then there was Trials of the Blood Dragon, which is kind of like obviously a kind of a fusion between Trials and Far Cry Blood Dragon. I haven't played that one. I probably should though. I should play Blood Dragon at some point too. But yeah, obviously that one's there. And kind of the hook of this game was the quickness of it. You burn through the level, and then it's quick back up to the menu. The menu automatically selects the next track, so you just hit there. You go A, and it keeps you on the same bike that you were using before. It doesn't default you back to the little bike again. And you just kind of go through, and then your leaderboard's right there. You can see where your friends are. You can see if they beat your times. You can go back in. It gives you medals, all that kind of stuff. Very quick, easy, all this kind of stuff. just to make your gameplay experience that much better. And then came Trials Rising. This game it's still good. It is very good. I think it is better than Trials Fusion. Um, but it lost something again. It gained some fun factor back that Trials Fusion lost. Trials Fusion was also the first one developed, or not developed, published by Ubisoft. So I think there was a lot of corporate fingers in that one. They kind of messed with the formula a little bit. Um, and so I think that continued a little bit onto here. I think Red Lynx, the developer, kind of took control back and said, "This is how we want to do things." But then Ubisoft still got their fingers in there, and then they started adding things that are popular with games today, such as loot boxes and slow progression, that kind of thing. A level system. So as you level up, you unlock certain things, whereas previously it was all you had to do was clear the track before, or even I think they would unlock a section, like here's 5 tracks, you beat a couple of these, they unlock the next 5 tracks, so you could move through the levels and you could just try them all out. And now it's kind of, you've hit a point where you play a certain couple of levels and they're not laid out like in a list form like they were in the old games. It's a world map. Here's a bunch of stuff kind of scattered all over the place. You got to move around and click on it. And like there's no, like, I can't really find a leaderboards. Not that I have any friends that have the game. But needless to say, it's still fun. It is still a fun game, and they've added some things like a tandem bike. So if you play 2-player, you can both be on the same bike at the same time, and then you get speed bonuses if you both are doing the same thing at the same time. So if you're both accelerating, you get extra throttle. If you're both leaning left or right, you turn at a faster rate than you would if you were turning by yourself, in single player even. So that's cool. I can't wait to have some friends over and try that part of the game out. Hopefully tonight, fingers crossed. So we'll see how that goes. And I've been streaming it. That's been fun. I've had Derek comes out. I had I had Fren. I had Console Kev. He came out and watched one time. Bill from SC Pod. They were watching me, and yeah, it's just been fun. So if you see me on Twitch, I'm just Creeplead on Twitch, same as the name of my podcast. It's just been fun. It's more fun streaming when you have interaction with people watching than just kind of sitting there by yourself playing a game on camera. But anyways, that's been cool. I've enjoyed that. So that's probably enough game talk. You guys are probably sick of me talking about Trials. I'm sick of me talking about Trials. What else have I been doing? Well, I've been still working on my game room. Sorry, I shouldn't turn away from the mic when I talk. Still been working on the game room. It's been a slow process. As soon as we moved in, it's been like a go, get everything done. And then once everything's kind of in place, then we just kind of like hit a brick wall and we just stopped working on things. So like, you can't see, but outside of my room is a mess of stuff, of boxes and stuff, just all over the place. And I see it and I walk past it every day and I'm like, I should probably get to this at some point, but I just get distracted with other things. I come in here and I want to start getting this stuff ready. I finally put some pictures on the walls. You can see like over here and over back there. That's kind of new. But then up above my computer, like I got stuff I want to put up here that I haven't on top. I keep saying here. If you're listening to this, I apologize. This is not a this is not very listener friendly. But across from where I'm facing, where I'm looking directly at my computer, behind it is a wall. Above that is nothing. There's nothing on that wall. I want to put something up there. I have some shelves. I don't know what I'm going to put on those shelves, but I would like to put something on them. So that I think is the plan to maybe this weekend. Yeah, it's just been slow. Hopefully I want to get the room to a point where I can do a room tour at some point to show you guys what I've done. It looks a lot different than any other room that I've ever had, so that's been cool. So yeah, hopefully everything will be done in the near future, and then I can share it with you guys. Speaking of my computer, I had to get new monitors. This is kind of a bit of a dumb story. Um, so both the monitors that I had originally, I have a dual screen setup. Both of the screens that I had, I pulled out of the garbage. So I can't really complain. They survived longer than they should have. But I got to a point where one of the screens would flicker on and off constantly. Uh, Sometimes it would be I could unplug it for a couple of minutes, plug it back in, it would come back on, it would be fine, or jiggle the input cable, and sometimes that would work. But then it got to a point where it wouldn't work at all. So I can't really complain. Like I said, they were completely free. I'd never spent money on a monitor before, um, and they've lasted this long. At least the one has. I don't remember which monitor I had at the old place. I had three of the same. This is gonna get complicated here for a second. I've had three of the same monitors. One I had in my garage at my old house. Just if I was looking up something out there, it had a big crack in the screen, but it still worked, so it was kind of like the garage screen. Then I had one on my workbench that I was using for a long time, but then once I changed out my computer, I didn't need that screen anymore, so it just sat on a shelf. And then I had another monitor. These are all the same monitor. One of the monitors out in the living room beside my TV, so I could, watch the Blue Jay game and then, do Facebook and Twitter on the other side, because my computer was kind of my entertainment center at the old house. Here less so. It's still hooked up to my TV. If I want to watch something, I can just kind of drag a window over there and it'll show up. But for the most part, if I want to watch something or do something on the computer or entertainment related, I have my own desk now. So that's been really cool. I haven't had this setup before, so that's been fun. So two of the screens, the one from the living room and the workroom, got combined. They were here, and one of them crapped out, and I don't know which one. I don't remember which one it was, where it was from. But needless to say, after a month or two of having dual screen, actually months, years of having a dual screen, even at the whole place with the TV and the screen and the monitor, it's very hard to go back down to one monitor. I sound like a spoiled person at that point, and I'm just saying it's very hard to go back to one. Clearly, it's very possible. I shouldn't complain about having a screen in the first place, but it is there. So I started scouring. Of course, when I need to find a monitor in the garbage, I can't find one. I've dig around everywhere and can't find it. I started going to thrift shops. I could not find the same model. I'm, again, a little bit, I don't want to say I'm OCD, but I'm particular that the screens at least have to be the same size, and they have to look kind of the same, even though they're not exactly the same, kind of the same. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't find it. So I was forced to get new monitors. So I started looking at deals online. I went to, there's like a liquidation place in the area. I was going there. I went to Factory Direct. I went to all these places looking for a monitor, or even one. At this point, I was just like, I'll just get one monitor and then I will deal with the off-size monitor look. Blech, looks gross. So even at those places, the cheapest monitor you can find is around $100, and it's not even a good monitor. It's very low end, and sometimes not even a name you recognize. So I wasn't comfortable dropping $100 on a monitor that I wasn't sure of. And I realized that's probably really cheap, but considering I found the other ones for free, I did not want to, just spending $100 on something that I usually get for free is tough. But thankfully, I was able to find monitors on Facebook Marketplace. And I think I wanted 120 for two monitors that were the same. They're big, they're widescreen. So I threw him an offer, a lower offer, and he accepted it right away. So I probably could have got it for less. Anyways, and I went that night and I got them. So thankfully, I have two bigger monitors now, and they're brighter, they're bigger. yeah, it's nice. It's nice having two monitors again. So I have another monitor sitting around. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I might keep it in case one of these craps out on me. Then I'll really be screwed. Um, if I get rid of it, then I won't have a backup. You know, gotta have the backup once in a while. So dealing with Facebook Marketplace has been good. I've been trying to list more items for sale on Facebook Marketplace and eBay. I've really been trying to drive myself to do that kind of stuff. I've had some decent success. I pulled a mini fridge out of the garbage not too long ago. Put that up on Kijiji, and I think I must have had 100 messages because it was the cheapest one on there, um, and I sold that fairly easily. So that's all money, like all this free stuff that I'm pulling out of the garbage and selling. That's kind of all the money I was able to put towards monitors, so I didn't have to spend any of my own money really. It's free or found money at that, literally found money because I have no money into it as an investment. Um, and I found stuff that's at Value Village recently. I found one of those micro cassette recorder things. Chris Roberts from the Dollar Dorks podcast, he swears by them. So I found one for less than $5, so I picked it up. Um, but I've been really stagnant on listing things on eBay. I sit there and I look at my all the stuff I have for sale, and I'm thinking, should I list it? Should I not list it? Barry Game Exchange is around the corner. It's less than a month away at this point, so I would. I'm at that point where I don't know if I should list the stuff or if I should save it for Barry and potentially get more money out of it, or at least not have to pay fees if I sell it on eBay. But can you ask a higher price at eBay than you can at the show? Because I don't. It's the same argument of if I'm going to go to a show and I'm going to buy something from someone personally, why would I pay eBay prices if I can just go to eBay and pay for that and then have, buyer protection and all this stuff. So I try to mark it a little bit less than eBay, so at least people know they're getting a bit of a deal. But I'm still not losing as much money because I'm not losing eBay fees and PayPal fees. So it's a bit of a catch-22. I don't know if I'm going this way or that way with all the stuff that I'm selling. But I need to start setting a goal. I need to start doing list one item a day. Weekends are off. I don't do weekends. So list 5 items a week until my free listings are full. Once I fill up that 50 listings, then I'm done. But I just need to get to that point. The hardest part is coming up with packaging materials, going out and selling or getting padded envelopes, boxes. That's the thing, is most people, when you buy something, especially stuff that I'm trying to sell, I'm selling stuff at like $30, $40, $50 tier mark and up. And that's not the kind of stuff you want to really be sending in a bubble mailer. So, but finding a box that's a decent size, that's not going to be too big and then push the price of shipping too high to make it undesirable. That's the real challenge I'm having right now. Thankfully, I'm in a job, and I'm at a position where I see a lot of cardboard, a lot of garbage in general. So if I see something, I'm able to grab it. But then I'm coming home and my wife's looking at me like, why are you bringing all these boxes into our house? We're trying to get stuff out of this house. Like, we're trying to move in, not bring junk into this house. So that's just been a constant struggle. But I've been really good. I've been, I get the box, I find the item, I get it all prepped to go. I try to find an easy box that's just easy to tape up really quick. And then I measure it, weigh it, list it, and then I actually write the measurements and the weight on the package itself, so I don't have to redo it when you go to print off a shipping label. So that's really annoying. You used to be able to just hit print shipping label, and PayPal or eBay would import all that information from your listing. For some reason, I don't know if it's everyone, but for me anyway, none of that stuff comes over anymore. So I have to I was having to reweigh, remeasure, all this kind of stuff to figure out what it was. So I just figured out this trick of just writing it on the packaging, somewhere where I'm going to put the shipping label on top of it so the customer won't see it. That's been my tip and trick. But it's been good. I started a little shelf over here where I can just list. I can list stuff. I can weigh it, and then I can store it. So it's kind of like a 3-tiered shelf, and it's kind of stuff to list, all my shipping supplies, and listing supplies, and then a storage once it's ready to go. If it's not too big. If it's big, then it goes out there. I've had success with all of the Guitar Hero controllers that I was selling. I've sold out of them on my store, so I think I have 4 more out in that room that I got to package up still and list. But once those are up, then I'll be done. I've kind of stepped away from that market. That market dropped out real quick. That used to be like an easy, like if you picked out an Xbox Explorer guitar, the white wired one for your Xbox 360. If you saw one of those and it was, even if it was $10, but normally it's 5 or less, that used to be an easy, almost, I want to say it was an easy $80, just like that. It's a pain in the ass to wrap up and ship. It's not that bad, but it's a little bit annoying. You have to find a box big enough to fit it. And normally what I do is I wrap the whole thing in bubble wrap, and then I get a flattened box, and I just slide it in between and tape up the edges all the way around. And that's how I shipped it. And I haven't had any issues. I have had no returns. I've had no issues or anything like that. But yeah, it's just been, that's how I've shipped it. So, I mean, yeah, easy $80. And now the market's kind of dropped out on them. So I'm selling them for, well, it's still not bad. I still sell them for like $60 now. But it used to be, I used to pair it with a game, so I'd find a Guitar Hero game, and that would easily add another $10 or $15 to the price. So if I found one of those, and if I could get the guitar and the game for $5 or less, I could make almost $100 on it. After fees, less so, but you could sell it easily for $100. And at one point I had 10 guitars and stuff out there, so almost like $1,000 worth of stuff just sitting there. But then the market for some reason just kind of dried up. I noticed that the people buying them are all at least in Canada, they're all in Quebec. I sold one this past week to someone in Oakville. Go figure on that one. But yeah, they're all going to Quebec. They're all going to like first-time buyers. They all have zero feedback. I never hear from them again. So I don't know what's going on over there. Maybe they're trying to like launder some money by buying eBay products. Who knows? I don't know. It's very strange. But yeah, that's been my eBay stuff. But I haven't, like I said, no issues. So I don't know. Not everyone attracts problems like on eBay. Then some people I know have terrible luck on eBay. Everything that they ship out, they're getting back, and then they don't want to sell on eBay. Yeah, I can understand that. I haven't had that. I've only had 1 or 2 problems, and I've been able to sort those out fairly reasonably, so it hasn't been an issue. Anyways, I'm going to cut it there. I've rambled on in your ear long enough, or in your car, or wherever you're listening to me. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate it. Oh, all this talk about VR games, and I didn't talk about Kevin's question. He asked me, what are my top, I don't know if it was top 5, but what are your favorite, I'll say what are your favorite VR games right now? So thank you, Kevin, for your question. I think that's what it was. If you have questions, I would love to have more questions to answer later in the next episode. God knows when that will be. But send them to me, tag me in a tweet or wherever. Let me know a question and I will answer it. If I don't forget, like I almost did here. I'll try to go for 5, but I don't know if I've played enough of VR games to get a solid 5. The number one game number one hands down has got to be Beat Saber. I've had so much fun playing that. I have got an A rank on all expert songs. That was my goal from the start, to get A in expert. They've since added Expert Plus to the mix, and I can't even get through one song of that. I think the longest I've lasted in a song has been about 30 seconds, which is not very long. And some of them it's just like instant, not even 5 seconds, and I've been tapped out. So yeah, number one's got to be Beat Saber. Number two has got to be Star Trek Bridge Crew. That is a surprise for me. I don't watch Star Trek. I don't know Star Trek lore. Um, I call torpedoes missiles all the time, much to the chagrin of Kevin and Bill. Um, and yeah, it's just I think it's more fun with people. That's more how I grade things. If I have fun with people doing things, that immediately shoots it up in the scale for how fun it is. That's why Beat Saber is so fun. I sat here with my friends, and we had so much fun playing Beat Saber. Passing the headset around, everyone takes a turn. You do a couple songs, you do a couple songs, and we pushed each other, and that's what makes it fun. Um, and I think that's why I think Bridge Crew is number two, because I had so much fun with Kevin and Bill that I can't I can't not have fun with it. Like it's so ridiculous, waving your arms around and you're grabbing stuff and moving here and there, and just the banter that happens back and forth is 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 what makes that game great. Um, yeah, that Bridge Crew is probably number two. Number three would probably be Super Hot VR. That one's been really fun. So the first night we played it, again, I had friends over. This is how I play games. This is how I love to play games, is have people over. If it's by myself, sure, I'll sit there and play it, or I'll stand there and play it, whatever. I'll play it for a little bit, but after 15, 20 minutes, I'm done. Like I'll just move on to something else. Um, but with friends here, like we'll play it for hours. That thing will be on. Um, Super Hot VR is really crazy. I'm sure I don't need to go over that. Everyone knows what Super Hot is. It's, it's that you're not moving around in a level at all. You're standing still. Um, I had a friend play it. He basically stood there and played through the whole game, and we were all yelling at him. He was standing, I should say, right here in front of this brown chair right here. Um, and I was at the other one, and friends here, and it happened, and someone started to swing a punch at him, and he fell on the floor to get away from it, and it was the funniest thing. It was so ridiculous that this happened, and we teased him about it for the rest of the night. He was trying to at one point get behind cover because he was getting slaughtered. He couldn't get past this point. He's trying to get behind cover. He goes to like put his hand out in the virtual world. There was something there to lean on. In real life, there's nothing, and he like almost basically falls flat on his face. Again, hilarious. Couldn't stop laughing. And then a couple missions later, he's trying to punch somebody in the dick and ends up like punching my TV. And that was a little less funny, but it's still ridiculous. So again, it creates those memories of just being ridiculous. And that's what makes the game fun. Number four for me at this point would be Surgeon Simulator VR. Again, with friends, it is so funny trying to get that game is ridiculous in the first place. Like you're doing, I think the first one's a heart transplant. You got to get in there and get the heart out. How do you do it? Well, there's a rib cage in the way. You take a hammer, you start bashing at the rib cage, get the rib cage out. Then you got to cut lungs and whatever out, and stuff's flying all over the place. And you get to a point where you're in space, so you cut something and it goes shooting up in the air, and then you gotta change gravity fields to move things around. It's super funny, especially if you have people over or you have people around to watch, or you're able to get people to play with you. That's the way to do it. It's so much more fun. Um, Number five, I don't know if I have a number five at this point. I haven't played enough of any of the other games to really say that I have an opinion. Like I've played Firewall. I played it with Derek for a couple of hours. We were terrible at it, but it was fun. But I've only played that one time, so I need to go back and try it again. I was playing Farpoint for a while. It's very cool, very fun. But again, haven't played long enough to say if it's the best one. So whatever, I'll say top 4. Hopefully that answers your question, Kevin. If it's a game I can play with friends, um, that's that means a lot more to me than how a game could be terrible and I could have fun with my friends, and that would make the game good to me. That's how I rate things. So, all right, got to hold that right to the very end just to make sure everyone's listening. All right, I'm actually gonna cut this off now. Thank you very much for listening. Catch me in the next episode. If you have anything, comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, please let me know somewhere, especially questions. Would love to get some more interaction from you folks, from you lovely people. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.